Hi, everybody. Welcome to hashtag Psychom September. It's another live session. And of course, we have another science communicator joining us today. I'm so excited about this one. I think I say that about every chat, but that's because every chat is exciting because Psychom is very important for us to talk about and dive into and really get to understand, from different perspectives. And today we have a PhD candidate in medicine, virology, who's going to be joining us. She's also the regional winner for KZN for the FameLab 2021. And she's also a YouTuber. So this is going to be a very interesting one because she'll be the first scientist that we interview who's actually a YouTuber as well. So I'm not going to waste much time. I'm going to get right into the chat. Her name is Zakithi Mkhize, at the Black Girl Scientist. That's what you call herself. So I'm going to have her join the chat and let's get into this.
Hi.
Future Doctor. Future Doctor Mkhize. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this and joining us. I'm really excited about this chat.
So am I.
It's
Thank you
gonna
so
be
much.
fun.
It is. I'm very excited.
I'm glad. I'm glad to see that. I'm not gonna waste much time. I want us to go right into it because if the chat I had on Wednesday with Ginelwe is anything to go by, is that we can easily go over 30 minutes because that's how amazing Psychom is, and the chat just keeps going.
Yeah.
So before we know it, it's like an hour, and you're just like, what?
Ow.
So
Ow.
how? So introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit more about you. Tell us a little bit more about why you ended up in the field of virology, how you ended up there, and then we'll get into it.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Zakithi, as Ntili said. I'm 27 years old. I'm born and bred in Durban. Um, how I got into the field of virology. Okay, so my science story is a little bit, I don't think anybody actually that I know has a very straight like science story, especially if they're doing their PhD. We kind of dabble in a lot of different disciplines. So mine, my first one was my undergraduate degree. I did a Bachelor of Science. Now, and how I got there, um, I was always interested in like science subjects at school, so mostly biology. And I really didn't know, and I always say this, especially because I engage with younger people as well, is that I didn't know that I wanted to be a scientist. Like, I don't think like kids today, if you ask them, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't think they'll say scientist. So
Yeah,
that's
because
because
I think scientists are boring.
but they don't know. I don't think they know like what scientists do. Like
That
there's
is
just
true.
yeah, there's the usual doctor, lawyer, teacher, nurse, things like that that people know. So in it for me, I kind of fell into science. I wanted to do medicine. Well, I thought I wanted to do medicine, but I actually wanted to do medical research, and that's how I got into science. So I did my Bachelor of Science in life and earth science as my undergrad. I did it in genetics and microbiology at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. And then I did my honors in microbiology. Weird, I know. But microbiology is such a wide field like that even people today like I recommend that if you're not sure, microbiology is the best way to gain a broad range of skills, because I feel like that's what science is all about. It's about gaining skills and you can apply them to pretty much anything. So I did my honors in microbiology. And then I saw this, I was going to do my master's in genetics because genetics was actually my love. It's what I love. I do some genetics now as well, but I'll get into that. I was going to do my master's in genetics. And then I saw this post on our university notice for the HIV Pathogenesis Program, which is where I am now. They wanted master's fellows. HIV research, as HIV Pathogenesis Program suggests, we all do HIV research. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do, like medical research, solving a big problem like HIV. I applied. my proposed supervisor at the time for genetics knew that, you know, I wanted to go there, and he was very supportive and everything. It was like a greener pasture for me. So yeah, I applied, I got in, got there, absolutely love it, still love it. Like, I'm there right now. I did my master's in medical science, virology as well. My master's, which I got cum laude. And then I did
You
my
had to mention that. Cum laude.
and now I'm doing my PhD. Yeah, I'm doing my PhD in virology, so it's also HIV research, but it's obviously a little bit more, you know, deeper, and it's just great. Like, I love it so
Yes.
much. That's how I landed in virology. So it is because
Wow.
medical school, and it's underneath the School of Medicine. It is like my PhD in medicine, but my
Mm-hmm.
major is, yeah.
Okay, that's exciting. That's exciting. So now let's move on just a little bit. Let's pick your brain here. When it comes to virology in Africa, literally, this is the standard question because I want to know what Africa is contributing to the world. I think that's important, you know, to shine a light on that. So, in the field of virology, what major contributions has Africa made to the world?
So I'm going to start with COVID because we're in the pandemic right now.
Mm-hmm.
In virology, virology is of course the study of viruses. So COVID 19, the disease is caused by the virus SARS-CoV-2. So we, as Africa, I'm going to speak more a little bit on South Africa because I'm aware more of what South Africa's
That's
contributing.
fine. We're in Africa, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely the bioinformatics, like the genetic surveillance. So where I am at medical school, I'm actually next door to CRISP, which is the institution that really does like the genomic surveillance, the bioinformatics, more of the genetic stuff, actually, if I'm being honest. And they have really been in the forefront of, you know, isolating variants as they come out, to be able to do studies on it. I'm not sure if you know Sandile. He was one of the first people here in Africa to isolate one of the first variants of SARS-CoV-2 so that we're able to use it in the lab and do research on that. So he's found like different escape mutations, and also now with vaccines, which is kind of the area that we're in now, he's also found like how effective vaccines are against these variants that we're seeing. So that was like huge. Like Sandile was all over the newspapers, all over the news. He was on Times Live. He literally internationally recognized. So that was, you know, something that came out of literally the building that I work in. And I also yeah I also had Sandile channel. So if you don't know anything about that, check it out. Literally awesome guy. So in terms of HIV, what has come out of Africa is definitely, I think from about 2015, actually even before that, is the prevention of mother to child transmission. So now that HIV positive women don't pass it on to their babies. There's also another vaginal ring that was actually invented by Curation Abdul Karim, who's at Caprisa, also in my building. And
Your
she,
building is doing stuff.
listen, our building is lit. So she invented this vaginal ring that women can use as kind of like a, it would kill like the virus before it enters like your vagina. So it's like a thing that you kind of inserted like a tampon. So yeah, she was responsible for, you know, that as well. There's literally been so much that's come out of Africa. If I'm going to go through it all, we're going to be here forever. But
Yeah.
Africa and South Africa has made significant contributions to virology, to the entire globe.
That's what you want to hear. That's what you want to hear, you know. Because the time is done of like, oh, Africa's so backwards, they can't contribute anything. They're always asking for stuff. Listen,
It's
we have brains here that are doing amazing things. you know. So let's talk about the topic at hand, which is obviously science communication. All right. Your definition. How would you define science communication?
I would define science communication as obviously communicating our science to non-scientists. I feel like the main reason why we do science, we don't do science for ourselves. We do it for the betterment of, you know, our communities first, and then we go out into our countries and the world at large. So definitely for me, science communication is communicating your science to the lay person. That's how I would
Mm-hmm.
define it. Yeah.
And you're a YouTuber. Let's go into that because that is one platform that you use to communicate science, besides obviously Black Girl Scientist on Instagram, but you also have Black Girl Scientist on YouTube.
Mhm.
Why did you decide to start a YouTube channel? It's over 1K subscribers, so that's exciting. That means people are actually interested in what you're doing. Why do you decide to start that?
Okay, so like Black Girl Scientist, I'm not going to speak about YouTube. Just the idea of Black Girl Scientist has always been an idea of mine for a while. Like I've always thought like in my journey through science, I speak to so many young people, I mentor people even unknowingly on my journey, and I'm just like, how can I amplify this? Like how can I make, you know, someone who's not even close to me be able to benefit from all this knowledge that I have, you know, because knowledge is free for me. Like I've just been just talking to people and all of that. It's free. Like what can I do? So I didn't know that I was going to land on YouTube. Funny thing about YouTube for me is that I used it especially more in my undergrad and high school days. I used YouTube as a learning tool. So I know today it's your favorite makeup artists and your favorite uh, content creators, and I used YouTube to watch science videos. RK Khan Academy. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it now, but they do
Oh
like
yeah,
super,
Khan Academy. That helped me through undergrad, for real.
like me and Khan Academy were like this with the science. So I used YouTube as an educational platform. So I was like, it was literally like a light bulb moment for me. I was like, YouTube is it. Like this is how, like, you know, I'm going to amplify Black Girl Scientist. Literally someone can go onto YouTube, type in uh PhD journey, and hopefully I pop up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a light bulb moment for me. And I came full circle because I used to use YouTube when I was younger for science, and now I'm a content creator on YouTube. So it was really just a light bulb moment. It's been so great. Like I can't even explain to you how amazing it is, because when I started,
Yeah.
it was just like if I can just inspire one, like just one person, um, I would have, you know, would have done my job. And now I get so many messages, comments, the support, the subscribers. On Twitter, I'm also very active on Twitter as well. So it's been amazing and so heartwarming, and it's made, you know, the time that I put into it so worth it.
Mm-hmm. And when you started the whole concept of Black Girl Scientist, they already decided to use social media. Did you find it challenging? And what are some of the challenges that you faced?
So I did find it challenging because I'm a young person. Like I'm a young person. I use social media in my own personal capacity. So I
Yes.
found that the switch for me was a little bit different,
Mm-hmm.
because on especially on Twitter, because I'm gonna reference Twitter a lot because that's where it grows a lot, and I have a lot of following on Twitter as
Yeah.
well. It's like people know Zakithi and they followed Zakithi for, you know, the tweets that she used to tweet. And now it's like for people who don't know me, it's like she just did a 360. Like, what is all this science stuff now about? You know?
Right.
Yeah, I didn't want to change it because that's another thing that I kind of grapple with a lot, is that people want to box us. They want to box us into the, you know. I really just want to just dismantle all of that and show that scientists are human. I'm a young person. Obviously, I'm on social media and I'm going to tweet about relevant things to young people. But I am also a scientist, you know, and I'm going to push that agenda as well. And I'm going to tweet about science as well. So for me, the switch, and having to kind of balance, because now I can't tweet that vaccines rule the world, because it's like, you know, I have to be very, I want to say, politically correct, like in the science. Well, I can't just tweet no miganjanji. So that's been a struggle for me. It's been a struggle because some of the, like, these social media things are a fun space. Sometimes you want to share a funny video or a funny, you know, but then I have to think, now how is this going to come across, because I've now have this brand of Black girl scientist, you know. So that has been really a struggle for me. It really has. So yeah, I'd say that's one of the struggles that I've really come across and still trying to grapple with right now.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. But it's good that besides all the challenges you've had, you've kept going. You know, you could have easily be like, you know what, nah, maybe it's not for me. Let me just stick to what I know and not now try and diversify and show the other side of me, which is the scientist, you know. So it's a good thing that you kept on going. And when we look at social media, and when you look at social media, how best do you think it can be used as a tool for science communication?
Oh, well, I feel like I think I said this to someone else before who's a scientist who's not on social media, is that social media is so now, like, it's the in thing. Like, literally, if you don't have social media, like, which rock do you live under? Like, if you have at least one platform, like, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's YouTube, there's TikTok, there's, you have to be on at least one. So it's so now, it's so relevant, it's so accessible, and that's what I wanted to do a lot for science and for Black girl scientists, is to make it accessible. Like, you don't want to struggle to find the stuff. Like, literally, we know with social media, you literally just log on, you type, you know, you don't even have to type, like, all the relevant things just come, they come to you. So I really think that using social media for SciComm, especially, and especially in the pandemic where lots of things are virtual, that social media has really been successful in amplifying SciComm. Because I feel like before, what we do is just, you know, try and maybe go to a seminar or go to a school, one single school, or go to, you know, try and get the youth excited about science in one way or another. But the youth is excited about social media, and the youth wants to, they want to use social media. So if you have your foot in social media, especially wanting to do SciComm and amplify SciComm, I feel like you've done most of the job. Your job is now to just keep it going, you know, keep the momentum going, and really, I can't think of a better tool than
social media, yeah.
Honestly,
No,
to
that's
use,
true.
amplify SciComm, and it's just so accessible as well. It's so accessible, and that to me was like a major part in me wanting to be on social media and wanting to be like, hey, I'm a scientist. Science is cool, and simplify my science as well for just a normal person scrolling on social media. So social media.
Speaking of simplifying science, how easy was it for you to simplify your science?
Oh gosh, it's still something I struggle with. Like, it's still something with. I think it only gets better with practice. Like, the more I present to lay people, the more I speak to lay people, the more I'm able to actually, because I think like a scientist. So if I'm able speak to a layperson and they're like, I don't really understand that. Even when I've tried to simplify it, then I'm able to actually get into the psyche, like of how do non-scientists think, and then I'm able to simplify it even further, or even try explain it differently. Because I feel like in psychom, and myself being in psychom, that it's not always about simplicity, like, because obviously it depends on your audience, but people get a lot of things. It's just that it's the way in which you explain it as well. So even if I'm not simplifying the language per se, but I'm explaining it in a different way, that's also, a tool that I use to simplify it. I still struggle though, like I said, because there are some scientific terms that I cannot simplify. I just, I simply can't. And like, just thinking of FameLab, for example, that is probably the most simplest primary school like presentation I have ever given, and it was the most challenging. Like, it's supposed to be the easiest, right? Because you would think, oh, you're just gonna explain your science to a normal person walking on the street. Should be easy, right?
It's hard.
It was
it's
hard.
difficult.
It was
Understandably so.
Presentations I've given, and I presented like at international conferences. Like, presenting to me is like second nature now. And I struggled to simplify it. I really, really did. And it's so difficult. It still is difficult. I think the more I do research as well, the more I'm going to struggle. But obviously, going to get better at it as I go along. So yeah, simplifying it is so hard.
You just have to keep trying. As long as you keep trying, that is the most important thing. Because if we want to eventually bridge that gap between science and the public, scientists need to, learn to simplify a bit more. Because obviously when you speak to the people, they tend to switch off when you start mentioning things like, oh, the genomic code, whatever, and they're just like, oh my God. That's okay. Thanks. I don't need that.
Science for scientists. We don't do science for each other. Like, obviously we do in the research part, in informing each other's research, but we do science for people, and we should be able to explain it to people. And I feel like the more scientists are transparent, the more we share in using psychom, the more the public will trust us. And I've seen that, especially now with the pandemic, with vaccines. People think that vaccines prevent transmission, but there's no way, or there's nothing literally in the media that says that. And that's because people don't know. It's not communicated. That is not communicated. The more transparent we are with the science and even the stats in terms of COVID, the more the public will trust us.
Yeah, and that has been a challenge. Obviously we're not going to go into public trust in science and stuff. That's like a whole other topic.
Yeah.
But that has been the main thing, because just like, they rushed this, they did it too quickly. No, we don't. So there's a lot. We're not going to go into that. Nope, we're not going there. We're not going there. But now, let's say we have a scientist watching right now, and well, firstly, they are watching. At least we know they have at least Instagram. But now they are thinking, how do I start to communicate? Where do I begin? Anything? Any tips of like, maybe start here?
Yeah. So literally for me, it's just starting with a single post. Like, even if it's not a post from you, I'm sure if you're a scientist and you also want to start psychom, you can share something that someone else has posted. Just plant the seed. Like, for me, it's always, just planting the seed. And that's how I started with Twitter, because it was, like, I literally did not speak about science, and I've been a scientist for years, like, now. So I did not speak about science. I was just a young Black girl on Twitter, like everybody else.
Living your best life.
Best life, my business, so I don't get chewed up by the Twitter streets, and just being a normal person on Twitter. And then as soon as I was like, hey, I need to start doing the science communication thing, I just started retweeting, like just retweeting thing about just having a simple tweet like science is cool. And then although people are like, what? Zakithi just tweeted science is cool, but the seed has been planted. And you just all it takes is just one post. So I'd say to a scientist that's watching, if you have any social media, it doesn't have to be okay, you have Instagram if you're on this live, but literally just start with one post, and then you just snowball from there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Second last question before we. I don't even know how long it's been because I'm just like enjoying this chat so much.
I see
So
like comments and questions, but it's fine.
yes, there have been some comments and questions there. We'll look at them just in a bit. I just want you to answer just this one question. In terms of science communication, how do you feel it can be done better if you don't think it's already being done great?
No, I think that people that are science communicators are doing it well. I don't think that there are enough people that communicate science. So for that, we need to amplify. I mean, for myself, like 4 years ago, I would have never thought that I'd be, even considered a science communicator. So it literally just starts with one thing. I think what we need to see in the science communication space is people utilizing social media more. So being on YouTube, being on Twitter, on Twitter, there's like a whole academic Twitter. There's like a whole different section of Twitter. So, I mean, using that to really, besides speak about academics and the troubles and stuff that we go through as academics, we need to use that to amplify our science. So to show people, that science is we need to break it down. It's accessible, it's understandable, it's not intimidating. It's not intimidating at all. We really need to break it down, not only for people but also for ourselves. I feel like for myself in this whole journey, I've literally met another person that I didn't even know was there. So it's really I think in the science communication space is already using the social media to amplify science communication, and don't change it, which is what I feel like people are doing. Like in myself, like I mentioned, Twitter, I was on Twitter as Zakithi, that nobody knew as a scientist, and I didn't want to create another Twitter page for the science. I was just like, I am Zakithi, I am the scientist, and I'm going to use now this space to, and I've seen other people like Sisanda, which I've just connected with. She has like such a huge following. And when you look at her page, I'm like, I don't even know you're a scientist, until she's starting another live with Science Live with Sisanda. And that's amazing because she already has the following. She already has, don't try and have two personas. You are the scientist. So, that also humanizes scientists as well. So don't like try fit into this box that people want us to fit into, because we're not we people as well. So I really think in the sci-com space, people should already use their following and what they have to amplify science. Don't try and change yourself to become a science communicator and then like a normal human.
Just be you. Just be
Yeah.
you. All right. Let's see. Okay, I know somebody has asked for a YouTube link. What I'll do is I'll obviously tag you on the saved live so that people can go into your profile, and that's where they'll find the link for YouTube. Root of SciPod says, yes, please. We are more than our science. Agree with that 100%. They also say, I feel like sometimes as scientists, we forget that we do science for society and not only for publications.
Absolutely.
That's another comment there. Yeah, I know. Scientists are always about publish or perish, publish or perish.
It's brutal, but it's true. And that's how I think scientists feel like they have to take on these different personas, because I'm a scientist and I want to publish my science, because then what's the point of doing it? But then I also, you know, the SciComm is it's an afterthought. It's like it's a tiny thing here. The main thing is that I'm a scientist and I want to publish and I want to graduate. And I honestly don't blame scientists for that, because it's difficult. Like, it's so hard. It's so hard. So I know that a lot of scientists may not be keen on dabbling in other things, especially if they're still trying to establish themselves as a scientist. I get it. It's hard, but somebody's got to do it.
Yep. And we have a question here. It says, for someone who wants to get into SciComm but feels scared other academics might not take social media seriously and might not be supported, what advice would you give them?
Oh, that's a great question. From Anne. I actually know the Root of the Science podcast. So, that's a tough one, because, when we go to conferences and stuff like that, we are actually, not probably, we are the youngest people there. We are the most tech savvy people there, and they just old people there. Like, and I even, did another interview with Prof. Neba, who's the traditional medicine specialist, and he was like, "Oh, well, I only have Facebook, and I don't really use it and stuff. I'm not really media." So it's difficult. I think it's going to take some time. Just to answer your question, and about it being taken seriously, is that there are so many international organizations and organizations that do research that use social media. So social media is a very, very serious platform, and I don't think that maybe people won't take you seriously, but they might find it different that, oh, you're using social media for this? That's strange, but I guess it works, and it does work. It's been proven to work. So my advice to you would just be to keep going. And if you are dealing with people, and I know that older people are maybe stuck in their ways, just show them the how it works. Show them how, you sending a tweet or putting out a video or doing an Instagram here in South Africa literally reaches someone in Canada. Like, how else would you do that besides social media? So I really think that you just have to sell the concept to them, and don't give up. Like, if you feel like maybe they're not taking that part of your SciComm seriously, you show them. I feel like, for me, the stats speaks for themselves. Like, you show them, the interactions you're getting, everything. I don't think there would actually be someone that would deny the importance and the impact that social media has.
100%. 100%. And we are closing off. Any last words of encouragement, motivation, anything?
I want to say that I'm so excited to see South Africans take on SciComm. It's really, I'm so excited. I'm almost as excited about it as I am about science. So excited. Competition, the competition like FameLab, which you mentioned in the beginning, has shown me, like, wow, like how people are passionate about science communication, how effective it is, as well. So I'm very, very, very excited to see, like, in the next few years, where we are as South Africans in SciComm. And in people watching this, I really want to encourage you to get into SciComm. And when I say get into SciComm, I don't mean start a YouTube channel or something drastic like that. Just start at home. Like, I literally started at home, and that's what I use. Like I was going to mention earlier, that I use my mom, like, in preparation for FameLab, because if she understands my science, I mean, I feel like a lot of people will. So I'm really excited to see where SciComm is going to be in South Africa over the next few years. And I really would like to encourage anyone who's watching to get into SciComm. If you're not a scientist, and you want to engage in SciComm as well, like, I'd really encourage that as well. And if you are a scientist, like I said, it just starts with one post and you're in. So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Zakithi, for agreeing to do this. Like, I literally DM'd you. I'm like, would you like to do this? And you're like, yes, please. So that makes me really excited. That shows how passionate you are about this. And thank you to everybody who joined in and watched this live and, engaged, because that's also very important. So thank you so much to you, and keep doing what you're doing. People see it. That's how, I mean, I saw you, because I realized, oh wait, there's somebody who does this. So keep doing it. We can see you. And thank you for everything. Like, you dropped a lot of gems throughout this whole interview, and I really hope people pick up on those and get started. Like, just start, like you said, just start, and something's going to come out of it. And yeah, that's a wrap from us. Until next week, when we have another live with another science communicator, 6:30. It's going to be so much fun, and all the best with your PhD. We look forward to calling you Dr. Mkhize soon. That'll be fantastic, and keep doing what you're doing. I will leave your link and stuff in the description so that people can access your YouTube channel and access your page as well. So exciting stuff. Have a fantastic evening.
Thank you so much, Ziggy. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really, really enjoyed our chat. So thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining as well.
Fantastic. All right. Bye.
Bye.